Hit it again.
Then all of a sudden, just a second ago, it stopped and said that the video is in.
All right. Well, we live. We're live. So everybody, we're back. Those of you that are watching, I don't know what happened. We are, well, I know what happened on my end. The power went out. I mean, everything went black. Fortunately, these guys kept talking. I'm trying to get Rudolph back on. What we talking about? I don't know.
Bishop, I'm completely lost.
This has never, I mean, with all these viewers on, I think we had 20-some viewers on. People were just watching, and
they were watching, and they
but
were
you know,
and they were
that shows me that that our topic is hot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So those of you watching, thank you for coming back.
Right after you left, Tiffany's line also.
Now, Bishop, am I supposed to be able
later.
to see everybody on the screen?
No, as long as you can hear us.
Okay, cool.
And just keep smiling. That's all.
So, you know what? I can't with you. I can't.
What were we talking about? I mean, what were you got? Because I blacked out and y'all kept talking.
I blacked out.
I was expressing, and talking about how these people who've been on TV for so many years, TV ministry for so many years, they've mastered the persona. They've mastered the lighting. They've mastered the sound. They've mastered the look. They've mastered the hand signals and all this other stuff. But far too many people think that what they see on TV is the actual person, is the actual character of the person. And we know for a fact that, we're one way in front of the camera in order to capture the people, to minister to the people, or whatever the situation is. But everybody's not, who don't have the heart for the people. There's still that contingent of those, like we talking about racism. There's that contingent of them who are out there, who are just on there to get the offerings.
Right, because church is big business.
It's big business. Exactly. So we have to operate as men in business. So we need them first fruits. We need that tithe and the offering, and bless the priest as well. So all those things. Hey, this pandemic, and with everything that's happening now, it has pulled the veil back and exposed so many things. And it's not just the racism aspect. It's exposed the heart and the true intentions of so many people.
Right.
We're seeing, wait a minute, I thought you loved me. I thought we really had a connection and stuff. But yet we're finding out, wait a minute, you really just saying whatever just so that there's no issues, or so that I can keep doing for you what you like for me to do.
Right. Now, Bishop, you and I've known each other for
a couple days.
Yeah, a couple of days, about probably 20 years or so. 20 years. You would think that knowing me in ministry for 20 years that you know everything about me.
Right.
So someone can come to you and say, he wouldn't do this, he would do that, he would do. And you might be able to say, yeah, no, you really don't know me. Like you said, the church me.
Right.
Yeah, talk about that, because that, and what we have, especially y'all talk about this, because I guess Rudolph is kind of afraid. I don't know. I'm trying to get him back on here, but it's the church me. The church me is one way. The real me is another way. We really don't know, especially the quote unquote church celebrities.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. Talk about that.
Well, one thing for certain, you and I have been up and down the highway. You've preached at my church. I've preached at your church. We've even went to conferences together with some of the others, with others and stuff. So yeah, we only have been in those circles when we met. It was at a church event, and everything.
Did you hear that?
She said everything. What did she say?
She said, "Oh, I got a comment on that, so I want to hear that."
I'm sorry.
I got to hear that.
So with that, we're always on our best behavior,
Right?
And it is, and ironically, it's as if somebody was, when I met my wife, it was at a wedding. So
Mm-hmm.
I had, at the time, I think I had just got Lord, I've been married 31 years. So back then I just got a carefree curl. So we look in our, we look in our absolute best in our suits, in our clothes. We think our teeth is pearly white. So you only seeing the best part of a person.
The book cover.
Even the book cover. So that when you're dating, we're going through the whole dating phase. You smelling their number one cologne or perfume that's on the shelf. You don't know about any holes in the drawers. You don't know about any holes in t-shirts. You don't know anything about if they know how to balance a checkbook. You don't know if they drinking beanie weenies and or what's in the refrigerator. When is the last time they washed? You can put that down. Exactly. We don't know what's in the cup.
You don't know. Hey, this is my show. This is my show. You don't know what's in the cup.
Exactly. That's the truth. So we don't know what's in the cup when they in the pulpit. We don't know what's in the green room.
Hey, this is my show.
We have no idea about the real deal.
Right. What were you gonna say, Tiff?
That's the truth.
So, when we were speaking earlier today, that just kind of brought something back to my memory. So I want to first comment on something that Rudolph said while you were offline. Okay. I want to rebuttal a little bit.
Okay.
And I guess the rebuttal would only make sense if he was online, but since he's not, he'll watch it. So he said something to the effect, because I think I have like a delay on my end. So I'm trying to kind of get all this information with the delays and hear what's being said. So in a nutshell, he was basically saying that Pastor Rob Parsley basically, he understood to a degree where he was coming from when he made his comment. But then also he said, and then he came back and gave an apology. And so I guess he's saying, or he feels that everybody is owed the respect of an apology. However, he also said that he didn't think that it was so much as racism. He said he don't think it's secret or hidden racism. And he said that if a person was racist that much, that they would probably be, or why would they hang out with black people? Or why would they allow black people in their churches? Or why would they, let me help you, Bishop Rudolph, okay? Every racist person in the world, okay, is not a KKK racist person.
Right.
Every racist person in the world, Bishop Rudolph, is not a person that is going to walk up to you and be like, oh, I can't stand you because the color of your skin is black. Okay. If indeed and in fact what Pastor Rob Parsley said was something from his heart, because again, I believe that if you say something out of your mouth, you can't like backpedal on that, because I'm the type of person, I believe that what you say to me the first time, that's law. That's what you mean. So especially when it's something as sensitive as racism, because guess what? You can't mistakenly make a racist comment and then retract that comment as if, oh, you know what? I didn't mean to say that because I'm not really racist. No, you're racist. You can't make a statement like that and then retract it as if you never meant to say it. So let me help you, Bishop Rudolph, on the second part of your comment. The reason why a person can be racist and they can still associate, and we're talking about, we're going to use the church as an example. The reason why he can hang out with Thomas Dexter Jakes and the reason why he can have black people in his ministry is because they're taking our black dollars. As I told you today, they don't have a problem when it comes to the black people paying their tithes and offerings. They don't have a problem when it comes to T.D. Jakes bringing you in to raise his offering or you bringing him in to raise your offering, or you getting the black community to do certain things. They don't have a problem when it comes to our dollars. but they have a problem whenever it comes to an issue like this. Sir, you should be the main person on CNN and on the front line rebuttaling and going back and forth with the people that are doing this to us. You should be on the front line. Why? Because it's because of us. This is the reason why you're able to live like you live. This is the reason. What did I tell you earlier, Bishop Austin? We the reason why people even know you. What did I say about Paula White earlier? We're the reason why people even know you. Why? Because you were too busy on TV trying to preach like us. So what do? We promoted you. We put you on. We put you on, Paula. We put you on. You didn't put yourself on. We put you on because we thought that it was dope that a white woman was sounding like us. We put you on.
So when it
comes down to these pastors and preachers and white people that are not speaking out and that are really speaking their heart, remember, we put you on, Rod Parsley.
So what you're saying is that we push them up because we could relate to them. Now, when we're in trouble, they can't relate to us. And so let's talk about this because we have a question up here by Dr. David Walker, who I spoke with earlier today, and we talked about this because that's true. We pushed you up because we can relate to you because you sound just like us.
Exactly.
But you can't. We talked about something called Dr. Walker and I talked about what's called implicit bias. And I think that's what we're seeing with in this situation, implicit bias, which means a preference.
Yeah.
And we experience that all the time. We have a preference, male over female. As a football coach, I have a preference. I want this guy to play a certain position because of his body shape. And we can also have implicit bias when it comes to church. I'll choose black over white or white over black. And what you have is, and you guys can pick up this conversation, you have a statement that was made by someone that said, basically in a nutshell, get over it, all lives, because you mentioned about the dollars. You've been in this bubble in which you can't relate. You telling me to get over something. You don't know what it's like to be.
Absolutely.
You think he's ever been pulled over and racial profiled?
No.
He's never had.
But let TDJ go down the
and
street
because of that,
Bentley, he's gonna get racially profiled. First
go
of all,
back and you just evaluate. You take a minute.
Racially profiled. So
Wait a minute, Bishop, because both of you are talking, and because of the delay, both of you are both of you are going at it.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
So let me tell you about my one experience being racially profiled. So I'm driving one of my artist cars. This particular day, I was driving a G-Wagon, a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. So I'm riding through a neighborhood. I'm driving through a neighborhood, and all of a sudden, I get the blue lights. And I'm like, So the first question that the officer asked me when he pulled me over, he didn't say, hello, ma'am. He didn't say, how's your evening going, ma'am? You know what he said? He said, ma'am, is this your car? And I said, sir, is there a reason why it shouldn't be my car? I shouldn't be driving a Mercedes-Benz? So my point is, not only is it our black dollars, but you're able to ride around and not have to go through the things that we're going through with our dollars. You're able to roll through neighborhoods in your Bentley and in your Rolls Royce, and nobody ever stops to even question, does it belong to you? Why? Because you are white.
And I've got to say this because Tracy Green up there, that I started to say the handsome guy, but I don't want to call him handsome because I'll be lying. He just told. That's my buddy. We went to high school together. My good friend, love you, bro. He asked the question: has anyone ever said to a Jewish person, "Get over the Holocaust"? And whether we want to admit it or not, that is basically what his statement was.
Right. It's like I was saying, Tiffany, she hit it the nail on the head as well, with the fact that when we stop and we really evaluate the history of things, when is the last time that there has actually been a regular interaction that okay, let me rephrase this. People leave the black churches for various reasons. And then they go to the multicultural church because they Some of them are they want to be used. They want to sing. That's the first thing. Why do people always want to sing? They want to sing in a choir, but you are yet to see them be allowed to have a mic and to minister the word of God, even if they may be an elder, they may be a licensed and confirmed pastor from their pastor, whatever, but they never get the mic. They never get the mic to bless the people. What is the hesitation? I will let you sing, I will let you perform in order to bring others into the church, because it's all about dollar bill. Okay, it's cream is still the cream. Cash rules everything around me. And if it means if I'm gonna let you sing, then and it's bringing in more people, more money into the ministry, sing. Go ahead. I'm still gonna preach this word. I'm still gonna do what I do, and I don't have to interact with you.
Right.
Okay. So I mean, we being real. We being real. There was a year before I got in ministry. There was a year after I got out of the service. Me and my wife lived in Columbus, and we went to World Harvest for a year. And when Pastor Rob, I'm just using Pastor Rob as an example because it's a true. This is true. What happened? Again, it was years ago. But when he would come in, and how he would hug, be walking up against the wall. You couldn't put your hand out. He wasn't greeting anybody. You couldn't put your hand out to shake his hand or greet him and stuff. They had security blocking people from even doing that. So when service is over, it's just like many other mega churches today. When service over, they gone and you gone. So we've got the opportunity to really see the heart of people and really see how they are today. You know, because we ain't going back to his ranch. We ain't going back to these other people's their mega.
Bishop, let me interrupt you because here's a statement. J.M. Foster said his statement was, "Let the church be the church and do what the kingdom should do." What should the kingdom do? Number one, we ain't hear nothing from the prophets other than send me an offering. Nothing, but everything is financial. Everything is sow a seed. Is it? The church isn't doing anything.
In a prayer kit.
Exactly.
Prayer cloth in a prayer kit. People are begging for prophets to lead us out of this while we're just trying to. And now he steps up and says, basically, get over it. You're going to quote something from Churchill, who was a racist, who only served one term, who said something about let the past be. See, this is where he was saying get over it when he quoted Churchill saying, if you connect the past with the present, you can't go to the future. That's a way of saying let what happened back then. We can't. We talked for 2 hours last night right here on this show about the fact that we need to know our history. We need to know where the police came from, how it was formed. We need to know our history. That's the problem that we're having with our youth, is that they don't know what's going on. They don't know the history. All they know is we're being killed now. They need to know we've been killed for the last 400
years.
See, you know what? You have no idea how hurt and how deficient I have felt as a grown man. I was at least 35, almost 40 years old before I heard anything about the Tulsa Massacre, Black Wall Street.
Right.
35, 40 years old. Stuff that had been deliberately omitted in school. When I seen a list of all the inventions that Black people made that I've never known anything about.
Right.
Who knew that the first Black heavyweight champion, Jack Johnson, was the one who invented the wrench?
Right. We don't know that. But we're supposed to, and you guys can jump in. I don't want to monopolize the conversation. You guys can jump in because what we're told on a regular basis is church just have church, and that's what, in my opinion, what our problem is. We're having so much church because it's, as one of you said, it's a big business.
Absolutely.
Can I say this?
Come on.
I have been to World Harvest before. And I have to say, and I have to interject that I had a total different experience. We were sitting on the floor. At that time, I was living in Alabama. This was not too long after my mom had passed. And when they found out we were from Alabama, their congregation, or those that were on his staff, when they found out we were from Alabama, they were very hospitable. They escorted us up to the front. So we were standing next to the door that Pastor Rod Parsley comes out of, and his mother. Mm-hmm. When he and his mother came out, they literally shook our hands, shook our hands mm-hmm. as they came out, smiled at us, put his hand on my shoulder, and said, thank you for coming. So I've had a different experience. Now, let me say this. Don't shake your head yet. I'm telling you my experience. Mm-hmm. I don't know your experience. I'm only hearing this now. And so because of my experience of when I went there, when I heard Pastor Rod say this on his video, I was stunned. I will admit I was stunned or whatever. But because of my experience, I wanted to try to listen and to hear deep into what he was trying to say. Right. That's what I did or whatever. Now, he said what he said. I was stunned, so forth and so on. But here's the thing that we as the church have to understand. We have to understand this, Tip. We have to understand this, Dr. Thompson. We have to understand this, Bishop Austin. He did come back and he apologized for what he had said. Now, this is what I was saying earlier. When we define the word racism or what it means to be racist, now this is just me. I don't believe that I can be racist or not like another race, but also be in a close involvement, help them, be in their lives, encourage them, all of these things, and be racist.
But you missed part of our while you were coming on. We talked about implicit bias, which means I'm not a racist of feeling superior and that you're inferior, but implicit bias means that I have a preference.
Right.
I understand.
That's what we're talking about. And we also discussed that, and I'm talking both to you and Dr. Thompson, because both of you had experiences. You cannot define a person based on what you saw publicly, either one way or the other.
Right.
Because you're only seeing the stage persona.
Gotcha.
Okay. And on top of that, as an entrepreneur, hold on. As an entrepreneur, okay, running a multi-million-dollar business, I, in my humanness and in me being who I am, I want to pull up every young African-American male and female that I can into this business and really push them. But I need specific brain. I need specific things done right now. So if the best person for the job right now is a Caucasian, though I don't prefer them, I will hire them in order to get what I want right now.
Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this, lady and gentlemen. There's a term called entrance convergence. Entrance convergence means this: I will do anything for you. I will do anything. I will set up a private school. I will create jobs. I will do whatever it is I need to do if it benefits me. Right. Something else I got from Dr. Walker. I'll give him credit tonight. We talked about that. If it benefits me, I will help you. I will go to the end of the earth to help you.
Yeah.
Within limitations.
That is why they have a problem with Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. Because Black Lives Matter says, I'll march, I'll protest, I'll do everything, and it benefits you as a Black. But when I say all lives matter, it benefits me.
Oh, yeah.
All lives matter. Now, do we have interest convergence in the church where you have pastors that will shake your hand, pat you on the back, give you a microphone, invite you in to preach, pump you up, because behind closed doors is going to benefit me, because I can't build a mega church with only whites.
Now, can I say something, Bishop? Can I say something, Bishop? What was the term? What was the terminology you used? You said I wasn't on when y'all were talking about.
Talk about implicit bias, where you have a preference.
Implicit bias, right?
A preference, right? Now, not racism, but I prefer a male. I prefer a male to do the job over a female.
Exactly.
Not that I don't like females, but I prefer a male.
Exactly. Now, that is true. But watch this. We have gone through that in the black church. I'm not even talking about white folks right now.
Right. Well, but right now we want to talk about this.
Okay,
we know we're dealing with it in the black church.
Okay, I'm gonna use Tiffany for an example. If your last name is Shaun and your name has some type of success attached to it, and you are not apropos, or you're not gifted in that area, but because your last name is whatever it is, I give you preference over the one who is capable of doing. We have been going through this in the church for how many years?
Years.
And nobody has said anything.
Nope.
And watch this. And the folk that know about it and see it and don't like it, they're too scared to say anything because they don't want to lose their position, they don't want to lose their power, and they don't want to lose their money. So my thing is this, Bishop, and I've been saying this all week. What we've got to do as a black race is we've got to clean up some stuff in our own areas.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Right.
What the white people are doing to us, that's just true that they have all these things going. Everybody, and the truth is coming out. But we got some things in the black church because we're doing the same thing to each other. Right. But we want to get upset when a person of another color do it to us.
Well, let me ask you.
It's a hypocritical situation.
Let me ask you this, and I'll pose this question to Tiffany because I know you two can go. The black, not just the black church, but the black community, they're turning to the black church for answers. And are we giving them the answers?
No.
No, we're not giving them the answers. What we're doing is, what the black church is doing that I think is very disheartening. And that's something that I do agree with Bishop Rudolph on. And I'll use myself for an example. And Bishop Austin, you know about this. There are certain doors and certain things that we've done off of the name of you-know-who.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because of you-know-who, you know what I'm saying? Because we're not gonna call names, but because of that person being who they are to me and that person being who they are to you in the church, you can go back and speak to Bishop Jakes because or you're friends with, or you're such and such's daughter, or you're such and such's best friend. Mm-hmm. And that I do agree with. I do agree with that. And so I think that part of Bishop Rudolph's statement is very true. But what the church is doing, that's not the question. It's the focus is what the church is not doing. That's the problem because we're too busy focusing on everything that does not have anything to do with the matter at hand right now. I think we're too busy pointing fingers and blaming people, and that to the point where people are not able to actually come to the church for answers because the church don't have and will never have the answers to this. The only answer, and I don't want to be spooky and deep, but the only answer to this is Jesus. The only answer to this is prayer. The only answer to this is repentance. That's the real true matter at hand. But people are not going to attack that. They're not going to attack that logic because no one wants to talk about that logic. Right. And so we're talking about everything that has nothing to do with the situation at hand. And so it's not turning into a needed conversation. It's turning into an argumentative conversation over things that don't need to be argued over because we're looking for an answer. But nobody has an answer. Everybody has a rebuttal. Everybody is pointing fingers. Right. Everybody is trying to figure out everything but what we need to figure out. And so there's no answers that the church can give. There aren't any because they don't have any answers.
Right.
Objective, what you just said, you just hit the nail on the head. What you just said is so relevant and powerful. I just said it yesterday on my live. We're going through what we're going through, And when you go, if you just go on Facebook or Twitter, you hear the prophet saying, I still see this. I still see this in 24 hours. And I'm saying to myself, dude, excuse my French, why are you prophesying that? We got something going on right now that's far greater than you're going to get Alexis in 2 days or you're going to get money. I see money coming. What we're going through, we need answers right now. And the answer that we need and that's there, and like I said, Tiff, we don't want to talk about that because it's not popular. We don't want to talk about it because you're trying to sound like you're preaching. The resolve for the problem or the answer for the problem today is number one for the church. We've got to go back. Not only we've got to go back, but we've got to tell the world what we sing about. The safest place, what in the whole wide world is where? In the will of God. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to be spiritual, but I got to say this. The church has to stand up and say to the world, listen, there's an answer for what's going on. Y'all got to get in God's will.
And I'm not saying don't.
But nobody want to talk about that.
We have to. We have to right now
some comments
because we're in a place right now.
No, I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying.
We're in a place right now in which immediate change
start. Now,
let
me help some of the people that
because
are saying
it's
vote.
already.
Okay?
We already know
answer
that
is
right
definitely
now,
in voting, but how much difference is that going to make?
All y'all talking at one time.
I can't hear Tiffany. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, Tiffany can't hear, so she's talking. Go ahead, Tiffany, and then I'll let Dr. Thompson finish.
I was saying that the problem is I'm seeing people saying to stop praying and start legislating or pray and then vote. But the thing about it is, yes, we need prayer, but we need prayer, number one, to make the right decision when voting. Number two, is voting actually going to change the situation or whatever? And I'm not saying don't vote, but what I'm saying is voting actually going to change, because we're living in a time where we have a certain government that is governing us, and no matter what we do to try to change it, they're going to find a way to filthy. They're going to make it filthy. They're going to infiltrate that. And so is voting going to change it, or are they going to find some kind of loophole to get around making what our votes are making our voices heard? So we have to be prepared to know what to do just in case that our votes don't necessarily make a difference. That's why I said I don't want to be super deep and spiritual, but I'm in a place now where prayer has guided my every move. Prayer has guided me who to vote for. Prayer has guided me through a lot of things. And so it may not seem necessary right now. Yes, we do have to vote, but just what if our vote does not change anything? We have to be prepared for that. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The vote can't change how people feel.
All right. Let's let Dr. Thompson, because he was.
Okay. I was going to thank you very much, Tiffany. Listen, what I'm saying is, as it stands right now, they're saying that approximately at least 1/3 of the churches will not survive the pandemic. At least 1/3 of the churches are going to be closed and shut down. Okay. Now, bottom line is all this stuff about somebody keep posting vote right, MAGA, and all this stuff I'm seeing here on the timeline or whatever.
It's exposing your real, yeah.
The bottom line is we don't trust we don't trust him. He's lied too many times, plain and simple. He ain't worth the plug nickel. He's stupid, plain and simple. He dumb.
Well, let me say this. You talking about MAGA? Take the A off the end. It's exposing your real, yeah.
Right.
Don't say again, because for people of my complexion, it's never been great.
Never. Exactly.
It's been great for you, and that's why you want to make it great again.
See, and then the fact that now, as I shift back into this, for evangelicals to call on some of the African American pastors, prophets, evangelists that they would have to come in and preach, for them to be calling on those black speakers and say, hey, why don't you use your platform and tell the people to just calm down and to get everything. They want everything to go back to how it was. They don't want all the turmoil. They don't want the confusion. They don't want to have to deal with this now. They want everything to go back to the way it was, and it's never going to go back into the box. Pandora is out, and we have to deal with not just this, with the racism in the church and outside of the church. We have to deal with, even like you said, Bishop Rudolph, yes, we got to deal with us. That, which is, and we already know that there's a problem with family churches. If you got my last name, you got privileges that nobody else got in here, and you ain't saved. You don't even.
Yeah, but okay, here's a comment I want to take a time out, because the young lady said Tiffany's great. Here's someone that says America has always been great for me. Wow, all three of you got quiet. All right, keep going.
I don't know who's supposed to
because it has to go beyond you.
It goes beyond you.
Has their own experience.
Exactly. And that's the thing. When you don't know history, you're absolutely bound to repeat it and not even know it.
Was it great for Emmett Till?
Exactly.
Was it great for Medgar Evers?
Right. That's what I was saying.
Tamir Rice.
It's so much.
Is America great for Trayvon Martin?
Come on.
Was it great for George Floyd?
Come on.
Was it great for a black man sitting in his house enjoying his evening and the cop busts through the door and say that she had the wrong apartment?
Exactly.
It's more than just about us. It's about our people.
Right.
And like I said last night, and I'll say again tonight, just because I'm an advocate for my people does not mean that I hate your people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We're not on here bashing other races. No. We're simply saying we want. Am I telling the truth?
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's oh my God. We have to do better at home, teaching and training our kids so that they know where they're going in life. We're the ones, if we don't prepare for the future, what's the scripture say? A wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children.
Mm-hmm.
What inheritance are you leaving them? It don't always have to be monetary, but what is your legacy? Bishop, every church that I've had, from my very first church, the motto was that we're a church with a mission to fulfill, a destiny to meet, and a legacy to leave.
His children's children,
and that's for all people. And that's why people keep talking about, well, vote right because of abortion and stuff. Wait a minute. What was Jesus? Jesus was not just concerned about the religious. He didn't like the religious, right? He was concerned about all the people.
Tiffany, let me ask you this question. Do you think the problem is we don't want to deal with what's going on in our community, like having discussions like this about voting, about the fact that it's really not the vote for the White House that matters. It's about the vote on your local level. Bishop Rudolph, the local level vote is what matters. Do you think that part of our problem is we don't want to deal with that? We just want to come around and have church and go home in our own little bubble and world?
When I was coming up, Uncle David, my mother, when it was time for us to go vote, my mother would give us a list of who to vote for. We didn't know. We were 18. We didn't know who to vote for. So she would give us a list of people to vote for. Because my mother always said to me, it doesn't just matter who's in the White House.
Right.
But it matters who's in your backyard.
Right.
Because if your local government is not going to be, because you can't, and another thing, and that's why I told people you always got to be prayerful. Here's why. Another thing is when you vote, just because you're a Democrat, a mistake that I made after I got older and my mom stopped giving me the people to vote for, I just vote Democrat all the way down. You can't do that either.
Right.
You can't do that either. You have to be prayerful and you have to be very discerning and you have to watch and see what people are selling you. Because just because you're voting a Democratic ticket don't mean that every Democrat is supposed to be the person that's voted for. Right. And sometimes we get caught up because we think that we're voting for the right people because they're in the party of our choosing. That's not it. That's not it. And so I think people shy away from voting because it takes too much thinking power to decide who to vote for. It takes too much thinking power. Our people are not engaged in campaigns. That's another thing our people need to be engaged in. Our people need to be engaged in campaigning, because if you don't know what a person is selling you, if you don't know what a person is offering you, and you go and vote Democrat just because that person is on a Democratic ticket, sweetheart, you're not making a difference. Because that person may not be doing or may not be making the necessary changes that are needed. And so for Black people, definitely, I think that a lot of that is a part of, I guess, what the young people are saying, voter suppression. I guess that's a part of the voter suppression, because we just don't, especially the African-American community, I feel like we just don't want to give it the time or even the thought process to sit down and figure out who's worthy of my vote. And so because of that, we just don't vote.
Can you answer, and I'm letting you answer this question because I'm trying to keep these guys calm. Answer that question on the screen, Miss Tiffany, because the reason I'm picking you is because a young lady keeps saying that you're speaking the truth. So I like to. So would Jesus cry, "All lives matter"?
I would say that Jesus probably would not necessarily cry, "All lives matter." And the reason being is because we're not focusing on all lives right now. We're focusing on Black lives right now. And so just because children, or just because people are focusing on, okay, well, what would Jesus do? With Jesus, yes, Jesus cares about everybody because he made us. But the matter at hand is Black lives. So I believe that if Jesus was here right now and he was walking this earth, he would not, and I mean in no way, support what's being done to the Black community right now. I'm sorry, he just wouldn't.
Question then, because you said that. This is to anyone that will jump in with this question. If I'm, because it was stated earlier, America's been good to me, and we're talking about would he cry, all lives matter. If I am an NBA player and I play for the let me call my favorite team, I'm the starting forward for the Philadelphia 76ers. I have a new contract that I just signed, and I'm making $22.9 million a year. I'm cool. The fact that you're struggling doesn't mean anything to me. Right. Are there people that are not, and that's why I commend the pro athletes that are saying we're not going to step on the court and play so that the nation can be distracted from the struggle of our people? Can we get to a point where we feel like because things are going so well for me, y'all just off? Y'all need to, and I hate to go back, and I'm going to open this can of worms. Y'all know, if y'all been on the show, I got a can of worms. Remember Malcolm X's speech about the house Negro and the field Negro?
Yeah.
Talk about that. Are we seeing that same concept today?
Go ahead, Rudolph.
Go ahead, Bishop.
I had something I wanted to say about the last.
Take a breath.
It is. Okay.
Take a breath.
What would you do? Would all lives matter? Now, I'm glad you're asking that. Now, let me answer this question from a biblical standpoint. When Jesus came, he came preaching the kingdom. He didn't come preaching race. He didn't come preaching black, white, blue, green. He came preaching the kingdom. That's why he told the disciples to go out and preach the gospel, because he wanted people to come into the kingdom. It was all about kingdom. So if Jesus is walking the earth right now, he's looking for those who will accept him and his rulership and come into his kingdom. Sure. The issue we're having right now, and that's what I said earlier, we as the church, we need to preach to the world. We need to preach Jesus to the world. And says, first of all, before you talk about voting, and as Tim said, I pray now about who to vote for. But before we talk about voting to make change, let's talk about our relationship. And if we are in the kingdom, they will see change because they're in the kingdom. Because like the young lady said earlier, she said, well, my life has always been great. That's the issue. That's the issue. Just like we talked about earlier. As long as I'm on top, it don't make any difference if you're at the bottom. As long as I get the position,
True.
That's the way we see it. But wait a minute, Bishop, because you're saying something about the kingdom, and I see a comment here that that's why we should be preaching the kingdom. True, we should be preaching the kingdom. But doesn't teaching the kingdom teach us that there should be a Black Lives Matter? Because when one strays, when one is in trouble, you go after that one.
Come on. Absolutely. What I'm saying is,
we're trying to say, no, all out. No, he said when one is in trouble, you leave the 99 that's doing fine and go get that one. And that one that you get comes back with the New Testament saying he leadeth me in the path of righteousness, because historically the sheep would wander, get in trouble. He'd go get him, break his leg. Go get him, bring him back. He'd wander, go get him, bring him back, go get him. Then he'd break his leg and keep him safe. Isn't that what the kingdom is saying? That when one get in trouble, when one race, when one group of people, he comes and gets us?
Even more. How about this? When we need everyone to have their eyes enlightened, that the scales come off their eyes. So with us as African Americans, we're known for being the most forgiving people. Over 400 years, we've been forgiving them. Okay? Now, when it's time to preach the kingdom and teach the kingdom, we're supposed to be teaching it to who? To the world. Who's in the world? All races, all people.
All nations.
So here we go. I got one for you. I live in an area where Appalachian people migrate up from the Kentucky and Tennessee hills. They migrate up here. So it's a lot of Appalachian people here. A lot of the Appalachians who only thing they know is Trump. They poor as Joe's turkey and everything else, and so they just want the right. Okay, how do you go to them and teach them the kingdom and minister the kingdom to them in love and show them, and yet still love them anyway? How the same way how the Jews, the Jews is fighting with the Palestinians every day. Over what? So it's much bigger than us and it's much deeper than us. But the fact that we understand that we have to it's more than just voting. It's more than that. And we got discernment for a reason. You just don't pray about it.
We're not saying that the Bible is just for Black people.
Right.
We're not saying that.
That's what I'm saying. It ain't just.
But Dr. Thomas, check this out, though. Dr. Thomas, check this out. Now, the apostle Peter had an issue. He had a racial situation going on. Yes. You remember?
Yes.
Racial. He had a racial situation going on, and the apostle Paul checked him.
Yeah.
Because when you become kingdom, watch this. When you become kingdom, you go to protect.
But we're not. You're missing the point. You saying that, like this comment, you might as well say that the Bible is just for Black. You totally missing.
Yeah, we're not saying that.
We're not saying it. You saying we might as well. We're all under. It's not happening to everybody.
I know. Y'all let me finish. Y'all let me finish.
The comment is saying that we might as well say the Bible is just for Black people.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when you come into the kingdom, you will stand. If the injustice is toward the Black people, and it is, then you will stand up for them like the apostle Paul did, because Peter was being racist.
Right. And the apostle Paul, comment is misleading. Your comment is misleading.
That's the finish, Bishop. I was going to finish, but I was going to end with something to clarify what I'm trying to say.
Okay, go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is, if we preach the kingdom, right, and people come into the kingdom and they accept the kingdom way, the kingdom is going to teach us automatically that we stand up for anyone who has been done unjustly.
Right. But there's a decision. There's a decision in that. Because as people are being taught,
true.
they still
that's kind of what I was saying earlier.
Some people, they like, oh no, I don't receive that. They'll say that they Christian all day long. Exactly. But as somebody posted today, Prophet Antonio Burroughs, he posted 2 pictures. If what would happen to you if you realized and found out that Jesus is not the blonde-haired, blue-eyed man that you've been growing up seeing, and you actually find out that he is this man of color? How would they respond? Oh my goodness. See, but people, they don't dig deeper to find out those things. They don't dig deeper to find out, wait a minute.
Because we want to hide. We want to hide in a hole.
Yeah, they don't know what's the real reason why President Obama did not grasp and hold on to Israel. Okay? The way that all these other presidents did. When the truth of the matter is, somebody took a stand and said, you know what? We're tired of how you are treating black people in Israel.
So is this comment below correct, that the church preaches racism and the kingdom teaches that that's totally, I can't see the name, whoever, totally out in left field wrong. Totally. We're not teaching racism.
Okay, let me explain it. Let me explain it.
You can't explain. We're not preaching racism.
The kingdom, when you come into the kingdom is about people, whether you're black, white, green, or blue, who have accepted a different way. In that accepting the different way, as you said, we stand up for those who have been wronged, who have been treated unjustly. Let me go back to the church. Just like in the church. Okay, Bishop, I'm going to use you as an example. Let's say you're a bishop, Bishop Austin. You're a bishop, right? And I come to your church, and I have the criteria, I have the professionalism, I have the know-how to do something. All right? But somebody else comes in, as you talked to earlier, that you prefer, or whatever. You pick that person that you prefer. That's injustice, because you're picking someone because...
No. We're talking about the fact that we have a responsibility, not just as church people, but as human beings, to look out. How can you be a Christian and see people oppressed and sit back and say the church, we should ignore it? That's what these statements are.
That's what I'm saying now, Bishop.
All right. These statements, what's happening is people are reading your comments, they're listening to you, and they're thinking what you're saying is we as a church should ignore this.
No, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this has been happening to us in the church for so many years. You know what I'm saying? And nobody says anything about it. And it's wrong. Just like I'm saying now, if you're in the kingdom and you see this going on to the black race, you should stand up for it or against it. That's what I'm saying in a nutshell. What I'm saying is,
and I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know whether it's you or someone else type. These comments are not saying what you're saying.
Okay, that's why I'm trying to bring clarity.
But you can't bring clarity because what you're typing is saying we should ignore it, that we should fight for all.
I never said we should ignore it. I never said that. I said
you're not saying it, but listen, let me read what's on the screen. Listen to what they are saying. That's why I didn't know whether it was you or someone else. Listen to what they are saying.
I think it's your wife that's commenting.
That we should only care for black.
Oh no, I think that's my wife. That's not me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not him. That's not him.
It's not right. The church should care about all people. That's something totally opposite what you're saying.
But I'm saying, Bishop, I'm saying this. If you are in the kingdom, then you should stand up for whoever is being done wrong. Just like I just said, if I join your church, right, and you choose someone else over me unjustly, just because you like them and it's wrong, somebody should stand up and say, Bishop, you're wrong. But they don't do that. They just, it ain't me, so I ain't saying nothing about it. And that should not, when you come into the kingdom, when you see anybody that's being wronged, that's being treated unfairly, you should open your mouth and say something.
Right.
The bottom line is this. Until
it just so happens that it's people of this color at this time.
at this time.
Right.
So everybody should stand up for the black race and say, yes, y'all are treating them unfairly, because when we're in the kingdom, we're going to look at those that are oppressed and we're going to go to bat for them. That's what I'm saying.
But in our churches right now, we first got to stop pigeonholing people ourselves.
That's what I'm saying.
Pigeonholing people. Okay, that's an old mother right there. We'll stick her in the kitchen. Oh,
exactly.
He half broke down and stuff. So
he don't have a car. He's on the bus.
Exactly. He'll be the janitor or whatever. We have to stop. That's what I was saying about.
That's what I'm saying.
The veil has been pulled back, and there has to be a total reorganization.
Absolutely.
Of the church, of the body. We have to get this thing right, because yes, people have their own proclivities. They have their own ideas, their own choices, and everything. Presbyterians, they want to be with the Presbyterians that they grew up with in the same Presbyterian church, sitting on the same Presbyterian pew that they grew up on.
Absolutely.
Some people don't like new stuff coming in.
Absolutely.
Some people don't like, oh gosh, a piano been added to the building. Oh, we got to go. Okay, so we got to confront, deal with it.
That's what I'm saying.
It is what it is. I'ma love you anyway. But don't sit there and act like I don't matter and that I don't exist, because
that's it.
You this way and I'm this way. I'm a love you. You got to learn how to love them from afar.
Absolutely.
And our guest last night.
I forgive you, but I ain't got amnesia.
And I ain't got to accept what you do. Exactly.
Our guest last night, Bishop Gerald Silver, said something historically with his intelligent degree from Duke Divinity, he said he broke down the fact that never before in the history of this world has there been another race of people that have been oppressed, such as the blacks.
Absolutely.
It's not saying that the Jewish nation didn't go through things with the Holocaust, but to have for us to be brought over on ships and to have our women have their stomachs cut open, to have the baby yanked from her stomach, the baby tossed overboard, the mother tossed. We had the millions and millions that died coming over here, and the oppression that we have, we're at the top of the list. And it's not taking down the fact that other races are still oppressed.
Yeah.
But that don't mean that I have to sit back and say, it's okay because y'all going through it, I'm going to go through it. No. And it's time for us, the church does need someone to step up, as you all mentioned earlier, and stop crying for a dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Bishop.
And Bishop, you know for yourself, when I first started pastoring in 1999, and I shared with you back when we first started pastoring and we met, and how God dealt with me about starting a Hispanic ministry as well. So we had an English service and a Hispanic service from the very beginning. I don't know one word of Spanish, not one word. But God, by obeying God, just so happened I'm in a grocery store in line with my wife, and we're talking about it. And lo and behold, standing right in front of us in the line at Fry's grocery store in Phoenix, the pastor turns around and says, well, I'm Pastor Noah Lopez. I love to help. I love to send one of my elders, and let's fellowship. Let's do this. Yes, I love to help out. If we can somehow get over ourselves and acknowledge, receive, and move forward in what God is calling for, lives beyond us can change. And that's the thing. We got to understand this is so bigger than just us.
Well, let me ask this question, Bishop, and I want to, because I know you two got this talking and Tiffany's been quiet. We've been talking about the voice of the prophet earlier, about what we're going through in the pandemic and racism. What would the voice of the prophet be like if the voice of the prophet stood up and prophesied to the nation that hatred toward Black, Latinos, Jews, Asians, it has to stop, as opposed, what would happen with that? And the reason I'm asking that is because for us to discuss this tonight, we're on here talking about racism. We can't get anyone to give us I need everyone that's watching this broadcast right now to donate a $20 seed right now, right? If normally, so that the show can stay on, I'm always flashing the Cash App. So because we got to pay for this, by the way, I paid for it today. But I'm not doing it for this reason. We're talking about racism. You're not going to get an offering. If we were on here tonight and all four of us were prophesying about, I see a 72-hour miracle coming. I see 72 hours. I see checks coming in the mail. The Cash App will be pinging left and right. What about the voice of the prophet doing what we're going through as a nation now, Tiffany? What should the prophet be doing?
Considering what we're going through in the nation right now, the prophet needs to be coming out of or going off the Facebook Live, going out of the church and going into the marketplace. They need to be going into the marketplace. Not only the marketplace, they need to be going into the political system. This is why the prophets, not no Jamal Bryant, not no Thomas Desta Jakes, the prophets needs to be going to meetings with these people to give them strategy on what they need to do to help this systematic racism that we are dealing with right now. They need to come off Facebook Live prophesying everything but what's happening right now. They need to come off of Facebook Live, and the prophets needs to go. I remember me and Elder Foster, J. Michael Foster, was talking about this earlier. The prophets need to be in the marketplace, not on Facebook talking about money, not on Facebook posting their cash apps, but the prophet needs to be going to the people who can make change and giving them strategy on how to bring us out of this or how to get over to the other side. That's what the prophets need to be doing. They real quiet right now. They're not. The prophets need to be on the front line. Those are the ones that you don't see on the front line. The prophet need to come off the Facebook Live. They need to go to Minneapolis. They need to come to Atlanta. They need to meet with these lawmakers and give them strategy on what needs to be done. Because I promise you, if you're saying something worth listening to, if you're speaking from the heart of God, they're going to listen to you.
Absolutely, Bishop. But she just said profound. And I posted that on Facebook not too long ago. In the Bible days, when the nation was in trouble, that's who they turned to. It was the prophet that came to the king and said to the king, this is what you need to do to get out of this situation. The prophet, I agree 100%. If you can see houses, if you can see cars, if you can see land, if you can see checks coming in the mail unexpectedly, you should be able to see a resolution and an answer for what we're going through. And let me tell you something. In this season right now, those lawmakers that she's talking about, they are right now open season. They are so receptive. When I was downtown Houston, when we had the march, when I was downtown Houston, those police officers, news media, lawmakers that were downtown, when I began to pray, all of them just stopped what they're doing and joined. When I began to speak, they began to listen. There was a whole riot getting ready to take place. The people were standing face to face with the police officers, getting ready to go at it. And I myself, I kid you not, stood in front of everybody. The horse was behind me, and the people was in front of me. If they would have threw a bottle or shot whatever, they probably would have got me. But I began to speak prophetically and say to them, let's take a different strategy. Let's do this a different way. Let's not do it like this, because if we do it like this, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. And they listen. So as Tiffany is saying, is 100% correctly, because they are now ready to hear what the prophet has to say as never before.
Right. And I asked the question, is the church out of touch with the issues of society? And we're getting a lot of answers to that question. Are we out of touch? One answer said that we've gotten comfortable in our bubble.
Yeah.
As a football coach, I send a play in, our players huddle to discuss the play. Then they run the play. People don't pay money to see our games just to watch us huddle.
Absolutely.
They pay money to see the play. When we come together and have church on a Sunday or Wednesday, we're huddling. We gather in our four walls and we discuss what we need to do. Then it's up to us to leave and go out into the world and run the play.
Absolutely.
But have we got...
Well, the church,
go ahead.
Church is years behind the rest of the world anyway.
Absolutely.
The church has been behind for years. You know, That's why the church is always trying to, as they say, striving to be relevant, and they're doing things to look like the world. So now with the nightclub look, the church is going to dark, having a dark sanctuary and all these parcan lights, the colors and everything else, so that you don't know the difference between one or the other. So yes, they're very out of touch. You don't try to be relevant by
marketplace profit.
You don't be relevant by trying to look like
that's what it's called. It's called a marketplace
addressing the things of issue today. And I love what Tiffany said. I love what she said about the prophet. See, and the thing, what we're also forgetting about the seer. The prophet is one who hears, but the seer is the one that God shows in visions and shows them what he's saying. And if they don't receive you, God, you go anyway. You go to the city council meetings.
Yeah.
You go and you walk into the police station and say, "Hey, listen, Chief, I just want to say hello. This is who I am. I want to just speak a word of encouragement, tell you something that God is showing me." You go kick them doors down and go to those places where God is telling you to go. Even if they don't open the door for you, God will make a way and open up a window for you to climb into. So come on.
Let me go around. I'm gonna ask each one of you, and I want a one-word answer. Is there hope for us yet? Miss Shaun.
Yep.
Bishop Thompson.
Yes.
Bishop Rudolph.
Absolutely.
All right. And is now we can talk. If each one of us says there is hope, before we go, because we've been on here over an hour, the second time. That's not counting the first time that we were on here. What briefly, and don't let me have to pull your coattail like we used to do. I'm gonna start with Dr. Thompson and swing right on around. Give us a minute, 60 seconds of if you had the floor to come up with a plan for humanity at this hour, what would it be? And don't let me have to pull your coattail like we used to do.
First, sit down together and talk. Get to know one another. Show me that you bleed the same blood that I bleed.
What would it be?
Right. Starts with a conversation. I don't want to be spooky. I don't want to come in there, EKOC, Coke spelled backwards. Come sit on my Honda and then talk. No, let's just sit down and talk. Let's get a cup of coffee.
All right. Bishop Rudolph.
First of all, we've got to deal with us. We got to deal with ourselves, because we preach something to someone else. We can't look for change somewhere else, and we have not made that change within us, because that makes us hypocritical. So we got to deal with the issues within ourselves, within our own circle. And then as we understand the wrongs that we've done, we got to rectify those wrongs. We've got to come together. We got to fight for those within our own, and then fight without as well. And then, I don't mean to sound spiritual, but we have to teach and preach people about kingdom, because when you become kingdom minded, then you will go after everybody that's oppressed, and you will stay on, and you will genuinely care from your heart. That's my opinion.
All right, ma'am.
Pray, vote, strategize, bring in the seer. That's my point.
All right. I can't believe the female had to, I almost said something got me in trouble. I can't believe the female had the shortest answer. But that would have got me in trouble, so I did say it. Man, I enjoyed this. I wanted us to get together, and I didn't want a kumbaya session.
Yeah.
I wanted us to get together, challenge each other, because that's what it's going to be. Because all of us, although we are the same race, we have different views, different ideas on which direction we need to go in. We got different views and ideas on how we got here. And so you bring together some qualified, capable minds, and we can discuss it. Did we solve anything tonight?
Maybe.
I believe we did. I believe it's the start.
If we change just one person, if we, got one person to thinking, then we did do something tonight.
Absolutely.
And it's well worth it. Right. I appreciate you guys, man, more than you know. I really do. And those of you that are watching, thank you for, if you can hit the like button or comment or something to let our guests know that we really enjoyed them tonight. It was so good and it was very informative. I believe someone commented earlier, the comments have been flooding in, and I don't know, I will see later how many comments they were, but someone said this was like CNN. I don't know whether that was a good thing or
that's a good thing.
or a bad thing. One last comment before I let you go. One last comment I need to pop up here on the screen. I don't know whether you all can see that or not. Can you see that comment, Tiffany?
Yeah.
What?
It says, Tiffany, Ms. Diamond Destiny said, Tiffany, I see you running for president.
I ain't running for no. That ain't what the Lord told me to do.
Just let me be Secretary of State.
That is not what. That's not my calling.
Just let me be. I don't know. Guys, I thank you all so much for coming on tonight, and it means the world to me. And of course, all three of you will be back in the future as you were the first time.
Yep.
Thank you, Bishop. Thank you, Bishop Rudolph. Thank you.
God bless
Tiffany.
you.
And Tiffany, it's not unfair that you brought all 20 of your people on to support you on that, but I got you next time.
Let me just get him. Let me just get him. Let me get him off the screen. He ain't talking about nothing. Let me just get him off. All right, guys. All right. You have a good evening. All right.
Bless you, everyone.
All right.
All right.
I want to thank you guys for watching tonight. Thank you for allowing us to be with you. The hour was late. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for allowing us to have a wonderful time with you tonight. This conversation was so good. It was so needed. It was an informative conversation. It was a good one. It was much needed. And I want to thank my guest tonight. I was late. Head on home, go to sleep. But when you go to bed tonight, I want you to, before you do, hit the share button, share this broadcast, share this show, let someone know that that we are here and that we are doing what we need to do to make life a better place for all of us, my friends, so that we can come back. We do ask you, and I've said I wasn't going to do it, but unfortunately, we got a bill to pay. This broadcast, in order to have 4 guests on for over an hour and 15 minutes, it costs. If it didn't cost, if we did the free version, we will only be allowed to do a 30-minute session. And you know that we wouldn't have accomplished anything with a 30-minute session tonight. And I think that we were filled up with so much quality information tonight from our guests. So I do want to thank Bishop William Rudolph out of Houston, Texas, for his wonderful contribution tonight. I want to thank Dr. Jeremy Thompson out of Middletown, Ohio, for his contribution, because it was a wonderful contribution. And certainly I want to thank Ms. Tiffany Shaun out of Atlanta, Georgia, for her contribution to the show tonight. When we get together and we bring different people and different ideas to the table, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful, I feel like Lucy's husband, Ricky. It's a wonderful thing. Hit us up on Eagle Austin. That's the Cash App. Eagle Austin. $ Eagle Austin. Well, I don't care if it's $1, 50 cents. I don't care. Whatever it is to help us come back here. We'll be here tomorrow night from Florida. RJ Stevenson is going to be with us. And then I'm trying to, I got guests for Thursday and Friday. Next week, we're going to do what we talked about. We're going to dedicate as much time as possible to hear some prophets. I got prophets lined up, and we're going to hear their voice on next week. My friends, when you go to bed tonight, ask yourself a question. Did I do something to help the world? Not just the church, but I do something to help the world be a better place. Did I make the world better? Not the church. Or did I waste another day? Peace to you and your family. Sleep well tonight, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow evening.